Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you happy for that?
No, sir.
Okay,
No, sir.
No.
I'm sad.
okay. Don't be sad. That's part of the journey, and it's important you learn a new knowledge during this semester in this class. If you learn new issue, you should be happy, and hopefully see you in the better situation, better health. Let's start today class. This is your last section for this subject, which is the week 14. End of the class, then we can have a discussion about your any question if you have. But first, let's start. Okay, we continue the chapter 5. Implementation of management in construction project. This is the second part. Last week, we already discussed some issue, like such as cost. Now we want to continue with another item, which is the procurement management. If I want to briefly tell you what is the procurement, I should say every single process that bring the raw material. What is the raw material? Anything you use to construct your building. For example, bricks, cement, sand, aggregation, doors, window, equipment, crane, everything is part of the procurement. So every process, every single or different process that bring your material on the site, we call it as procurement process. In this regard, there are some sequence, there are some steps that you can provide your raw material. If you sit in your office, the material never arrives. You have to make a decision. You have to follow some step. It doesn't matter you're constructing one single story or a tall building. You have to go through this process. First step is procurement planning. Then documentation, supplier, award the contract. Let's assume you are a contractor. Don't misunderstand the word of award contract. You are a contractor. You already collaborate, attend in the tender, and win the project. This is another process, another tender, that you are the one who is responsible to do this. Previous times that you, as a contractor, you won the project, you collaborate, and the owner of the project gave it to you. Just assume, okay? Now, this time, you are the one who put this tendering and invite one person, sometimes 5%, or better say company, or unlimited number of the company to attend. Okay, so then administration, inspection, delivery, and improvement. So the different here in this stage, when you award the contract, to how many people attend to bidding your project is up to you. If you have experience, like 10 years experience, by right, automatically, you have a knowledge that only limited number of the company or factory can provide what you need, so you don't need to make the open tender for everybody. What is the difference if you choose 3 company to collaborate in the tender compared to 100 different company collaborate in the tendering? What's different? What happened? Is it better 3 company you choose or 100 company collaborate in the tendering? Which one is better? Any idea?
103.
3 enough? Mohammed, okay. You have any reason, Mohammed? Why? Why you think 3 enough?
Because I think if there are 3 companies, it's just enough.
But I have a question for you and everybody, for whoever agree with you, okay? If you invite 100 company, doesn't make it more competitive, so maybe you get the lower price, better price, you buy the material cheaper. Anyone want to share? Which one is better, you think? Don't be shy. It's no problem if your answer is solid, correct. We want to hear your opinion.
Better 3 because we can easier to make a decision.
Thank you. Masura? Anyone else? So far, 2 friends agreed, just we invite 3 company. Anyone have any opinion against your friend? You know, the way we learn is when we think. You have to think which one is better. Sometimes we read journals, we read books, yes, we learn something. But sometimes not everything's come from the book. You have to challenge yourself to think. Maybe it's not easy to think because you have to put yourself in situation that's consume a lot of energy, but it's okay. You learn something. Anyone else before I continue? No one. Okay, then Mohammed, I agree with you. 3 is better, but when there is an exception, when you have experience, you know the supplier, and also the material you requested is not available in every company. Maybe you need some special sort of the ceramic that need to import from Italy. So you know, not everybody can do that. There are only 3 suppliers have this ability, have this budget, have this power to do that. So if you choose only these 3 companies, invite them to attend your tender, you are saving the time. Because which one is easier? You just check 3 documents, 3 company tender, or you check 100. Of course, the 100 is really time consuming and you have to spend a lot of time. But 3 is easy. Or sometimes There are another situation that you are project manager or contractor from a sensitive building, like military building, okay? Not everybody should access there. So in that case, you choose, you select just a special supplier to provide the material. But in any case that you don't have fully information, you don't know all the supplier, yes, you can make open tender, invite everybody, like 100. 100 is just example, maybe 200, maybe less, maybe more. You invite everybody, but you're not going always choose the lowest price they offer, but the price should be realistic. You remember last week we checked 7 different methods for calculating the cost. Some of the methods only good for hospital or a school. Some others had a different function, more comprehensive. So you already need to know, you assess your project, how much does it cost? And then out of all tender collaborator, you choose the one is lowest, but same time should be realistic to the figure you already calculated. So when you want to have a tender, there is no solid way that this method is the best, but you have to see the characteristic of your project. That's why we say constructing a building is a complex task. There are so many elements you need to evaluate. There are so many elements you need to consider and then make a decision. The good project manager always make the best decision based on the information he or she already has. So the first step, procurement planning, a process to identify project products, needs that are needed to deliver a project to satisfy the client or fulfill the construction of the project. The next stage is documentation. Shall identify the scope of the project, the type of material you needed. Not all the materials come from one source, but you will you will purchase your bricks from brick company, the aluminum window from another company, and the same for every single material. Same times. If your project is a mega project, is very big project, you need to purchase a single materials from different supplier. For example, you need cement, but you need to refer to 2 different factory, 3 different supplier, subcontractor evaluation. Evaluation is made based on the setting criteria of the bids or proposal, which is what is important here in this stage. Know the price, the terms of payment, and the delivery date. So in these 3 words, price, term of payment, and delivery, there is a huge word behind it. There is so many issue behind these 3 words because the terms of payment is important. Why is important? Because you are not going to pay to supplier at once, only one time, but you distribute it to 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe different, depends what is the cost of your project, different date that you will pay to the supplier. And what's Another item is important is delivery time. If your supplier has not delivered your material on time to the project, what happened? Don't you think you face the overrun time in the project? Your project cannot be finished on time. So you expect the material deliver on time. What happened? That's not actually related to this topic, this issue. If has not delivered on time, we have important issue to discuss today, but that's also a really big issue, different, that cost few hours to discuss about it. The next step, it award contract means notify whoever won and whoever has not won that tender, or in another hand, successful and unsuccessful tender. So everybody needs to be notified. So they not wait if they have not accepted. And the one accepted, get ready to do the process. Compile contract document, capture contract award date, and formally accepted offer letter to the one who becomes successful. Administration is the process ensuring that supplier or contractor performance meet the requirement that you expected, such as deliver the material on time, administer contractor in accordance with the terms, ensure compliance with requirement, and capture contract completion is the other issue related to administration. Same time, whatever has arrived to your site needs to be inspected day to day. Inspection is not a process that need your attention once a month, but it needs to be done daily, every day, every single day, or at least every single time that the material arrived. Definitely should have inspection, but you need to check the material during the project in case if there is any defect, if the materials, pipes have any damaged. So in this regard, there are some process, as you can see here, need to be fulfilled. These documents to be provided to selected third-party inspector, copy of purchase order, and it goes on. You can read here. So this is very systematic process and very important, the procurement stage, because it's contributed to what? Why the procurement stage is important? Anyone know? Anyone listening to me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Wow. Somebody's so happy. Are you listening? Monetary issue is the reason that make procurement stage very, very important, because you're paying. And basically 70 to 80% of the money spent for the project is related to procurement stage. The other 20-30% is related to the salary for worker, engineer, contractor, and the rest. The another item is delivery, delivered to the site with the following document: description of material, quantity, the size, the brand, and some other issue you can read later. This is very logic and easy. The other two items we have is delivery decision and site inspection. The item before the last one is improvement. Project manager shall monitor and process the whole procurement stage. So if you've been asked who is responsible, have a main responsibility for procurement is nobody but project manager. Maybe that's the reason project manager will get higher salary than others, because his responsibility and his job is very sensitive. To do this inspection, to do this improvement, there are some questions that project manager need to be answered. Whether procurement satisfied the objective of project, whether the needs and expectation has been achieved or not. If achieved, if the needs, if the objective achieved, so there is no need for improvement. But if the answer this question is not yes, so he need to make a secondary decision, new decision to improve the process. And the last one is related to the cost saving. Okay, that was the last stage for procurement. If you have any question, let me know, please. Okay. The next item is resource management. You see, we are talking with so many management, and most of this management is the responsibility of PM. Resource management include identifying, analyzing, deploying, and monitoring the resource required to undertake the project activity. So in one word, everything related to resource. You have to identify, you have to analyze the resource, you have to use the resource, you have to, after everything, you need to monitor. Insufficient resource analysis, not insufficient resource, but the analysis leads to poor productivity, which every PM must avoid from having a poor productivity, because if you have not good productivity, you maybe you have to think about your first project. Only the good project manager can achieve the better project in the future, in their next project. So you have to be very careful with the productivity of your project. So in resource, when we talk about resource, there are three things. The first item is the manpower. What is the manpower? The first question you have to ask yourself. What is the manpower? Employ adequate workmen to execute execute the work. Any worker, anybody who do carpentry, anybody who do digging, anybody who is responsible to be security on the site, this workman include all of them. Okay, the person who work with the crane, and the list is actually very long. You can imagine in your mind. Now, this manpower, it's a very sensitive issue for the PM for so many reasons. First, let's review the reason why it's important. There are two types of manpower planning. First one we call resource smoothing. Take a look here. On the middle one, the figure in the middle one, actually it's blue color. You can see there are different peak you can see in this figure. Sometimes the peak is high. On the next day, every of that bar, vertical bar, represent a day in this figure. The first day, second day, third day, it goes up, but the day 4, it came down, okay? So again, on the day 5th, it rose and then decreased again for 2 days. So this type of resource management for a project is a very poison. It's killing the project. It's not appropriate method for resourcing. As you can see, as you can read here, avoid sudden aggregation of manpower because it might demotivate the worker. When you decrease it suddenly, so the worker has no idea if tomorrow he's in your working, has job on your site, project site or not. So the day he or she want to work, mostly they have low motivation because they worry about tomorrow. They have no idea if the project wants them or doesn't. That's not good. That's absolutely should be avoided. Therefore, your worker, they must know until next 1 month, until next 1 year, until next any days, they working in the same project. High turnover is also costly because if tomorrow you ask them to leave and the day after or the next week, if you call them and they already work somewhere else, they're not going to show up. That's why on that specific day, you don't have enough worker to done your project, to do your project, the task in your project. That's one of the reason you cannot finish your project on the deadline, on the proper deadline that you estimated. It will affect the productivity. Yes, when it's actually returned to the first reason. If they have not proper motivation, the productivity automatically will decrease. Time is paramount rather than manpower availability. So what you have to do, you change it to the figure on the right side of your screen. You can see the manpower aggregation should follow like something like a mountain, if I want to explain it. But you must avoid any type of the aggregation like the middle figure. How you have to do, we will discuss about it. We will learn how to manage it. But for now, you need to understand the concept, why you have to make this resource smoothing. resource leveling. When you change the resource from the middle picture figure to the right one, this one we call resource leveling. So let's have example that will help you, aid you to understand easy. There is a company here. Please, everyone, carefully listen to this example. It's very important, not only for this subject, but for your future job. A company has taken a contract for landscaping of the plot of land. You may read this example until the end, then I continue. I give you 2 minutes to read this carefully. Take your time. Okay, let's proceed. There are, as you already hopefully read this example, there are some activity in this project from A to E. Each individual activity takes a different days to fulfill. But the simple issue here, it helps you to solve this example. The number of workers for every activity is 2 workers, okay? From activity A to E, you only, for each one, you need 2 workers. So let's see. The first step, you have to draw the network, calculate the forward, backward pass, and find the critical path for this very simple project. So you can see A, activity B, C, D, and E. The whole project takes 7 days. Okay, total flood has been calculated, which means you already know, I'm sure, activity B and activity E cannot have a delay. Activity B should start from beginning and finish on day 5th. And activity E also should start from day 5th after day 5th, which means day 6 and day 7, and take 2 days. There is no delay will ever happen to B and E. So you already have your critical paths. If you need any explanation how we draw this, let me know. But I'm passing from this page because I believe you already know how to do that. So the next step, you need to draw the bar chart. It's necessary. You must do that, okay? You have to draw it, the bar chart. The blue color box shows the days that need every activity, each activity to fulfill. For example, activity A, day 1, day 2. But we have some dot here. You can see here, the dot here. This is let you know. You have to draw it the same way. If the activity not located on critical path, you can postpone this task by, for A is 1 day, 1 day, because you already calculate total float for activity A is 1. So either you start day 1, you finish day 2, or you will start day 2 and will finish the task on day 3. Okay? This is possible. But you cannot shift them to day 4, day 5, or goes on. Activity B, we cannot change it because it's uncritical path. So let's go to the next activity. What is the total float for activity C? Let's check here. A, B, C. Total float for C, 2 days. So you can start activity C from day 3, but it's up to you. You want to do it on day 3 or day 4 or day 5th. But you cannot go to another day, day 6th, okay? So during these 3 days, you have to do this job, this task. It's not really arbitrary, you just change it to day 5th without any reason. What we're trying to review here, you have this freedom, but not is just arbitrary, you put it there. You will see how you have to shift it. For the next activity is D, which total float 1. Activity D takes 4 days, and you have 1 day here that you can shift the activity. The last one also, E, located on critical path. So you are not allowed to change it. So let's review your bar chart. There are 3 activity, A, C, D. Then you can shift them. So here, this 2 is the number of worker that they work on that specific day. For example, for activity A, there are 2 working days. Each working days, 2 worker needed. So you put here 2 and here 2. For activity B, also same. I'm giving you just example. If activity B needed 4 worker each single days, every single day, now you could write here 4, 4. All of them, all of this box, change to the 4. But there is only 2 worker. The question asks you to calculate. So this is step 4. Now step 5. Calculate total number of the labor or workman that used and available every single days. Let's go to day 1. 2 worker here and another 2 worker here. How many? 4. How about second day? 2 plus 2, 4, right? How about day 3? How many workers do we need for day 3? There are 6
See,
workers we need. And day 4, you do the same process. 4, 4, 4, and the last day, 2 workers. So how many labor available every single days? Let me I flashback to the question that you already read. There, you've been told that total, let me I put the only word, the total only, there are only 4 workers available every single days. No matter how many workers you need. You need 10 workers, it doesn't matter because there are not more than 4 workers there. So you have to adjust your project to fulfill this requirement. What requirement? Maximum number of the 4 worker every single days. If you not understood anything, you turn on your microphone or type there. Mention your question to me. I'm going to explain to you more. So the question already told you every single day 4 worker available. This column we haven't calculated. We just shifted from the question. So let's see how many surplus or shortage worker for every single days. Day 1, day 2 is equal 4, 4. There are 4 worker needed, so the maximum not exceed the maximum. So here 0 or nothing. But day 3, you need 6 worker. If you not change your plan, this bar chart, which is your project plan, you will face some problem because you need 6 worker, but you don't have. For another next 3 days, for next 3 days, everything's cool, but take a look. On the last day, you need only 2 workers. Why? You can have up to 4. So here, the situation different. Now let's see what you have to do. Let's draw this histogram here. I hope you can see when I move the pointer in the mouse. The red color or pink color, whatever you call this the activity that's located on critical path. You cannot change them. So always you have to put them in the lower section of your histogram. B and E that you cannot change, always put in the first level, lower section. After that, you put other activity, A, B, C, sorry, D, C, and that's it. You have another only 3, A, C, and D. So you can see here on the day 3, there is some problem with the shortage of the worker. You have 6 worker, you need 6 worker, but there are not more than 4. What you have to do here, you go back to your bar chart, shift your activity D, instead you start your activity D from day 3, you need to start it from day 4. In another word, you will pick one day from here, day 3, and you put it on the day 7. You can explain it in both ways. Which one is more convenience, you follow that. So what it's up to me, if it's up to me, I shift activity D. Instead, I started day 3, I will start it on day 4. So in that case, if I do that, you can see easily the extra 2 worker that needed on day 3 will shift on day 7. So you already provide a proper leveling for your project. So there are some rules when you want to apply the leveling. First one, I told you already, never touch the critical path activity. Here, B and E, never shift them, never change them. Drag resource within its flood, which means here, you can move or shift activity A between day 1, 2, and second day and third days. You cannot move it to day 4 or day 5th. Do not separate or break the bar chart. Like activity B, there is a 5 days, right? You cannot put like day 1st, day 2nd, then you give rest day 3, day 4, start again day 5th. Always should be coincide. Okay? And always allocate the critical bar at the bottom of your bar here, histogram. Always at the bottom of your histogram. That's it. I want you to take a look. If you have any question, let me know. Any question?
No, doctor.
Okay. So let's proceed to the next item, next example. This is the difference between this example. Actually, there is no difference, but it's a little more update because the number of workers is not same in every single activity, but the rest is everything same. Same process, same method, same strategy you need to apply to get the result. Every single activity you can see here some of them have a different requirement for number of worker. And this is the duration, 6, 3, 3, and all 3 actually. Only the first one, 6 days. The restriction of the worker requirement is the total of 35 worker, only 35 worker available every single days. So if one day you calculate you need 40, you need 45, you have to align them, you have to level them. Bring every day to the same level, which is 35 workers. So first step, I think you already know very well, you have to calculate, you have to draw. You have to draw it first. Be very precise, careful how to draw it. This is like a ring. If you make a mistake in the first stage, then you cannot get the correct answer. So draw it carefully. Then calculate the forward pass, backward pass, and find your critical path. Which is critical path here? Activity A, F, and G. 3 activity here, located on critical path. Then, okay, we already discussed, find your total path, total flood, which is critical path, these 3 activity. Then you have to draw the bar chart. So here, everything combined. Take a look on the left side, the bar chart on the left. Everyone, bar chart on the left. Activity A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, took 6 days. Every single day, it needs 20 workers. Activity B, same, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, after you done this, you have to go to draw the information, to accumulate the information for your histogram. The number of 35 workers is somewhere here. Take a look here, is here. So two activity shows above the 35, which is C and activity E. You see here, take a look, C and E. So what you have to do, you have to make some changes in this level. Now let's shift to the right side, the bar chart in the right side. After you done the leveling, take a look here. To bring down the number of worker, because in the original one, first day shows 50 worker, which is 15 worker is surplus, is extra. To do that, take a look here. The activity that not located on critical path, you can shift them. The first activity that you shift is activity C. Move from first day to day 4th. If required, if needed, you could even change it to day 7. But you have to check here in the below. From which, if you shift it, from which day the number of worker will become below 35. Then the another two activity that moved is D and activity E, which shift to the end, because take a look here. The last 3 days only need 5 worker, which means 30 more workers you can shift here. So both activity D and E moved and shift to the day 10 to day 12. So now take a look here. There is no single activity can be seen here that they are above 35. Even in the last 30 days, they are below 35. Only in the last 33 days, each day, you need 30 worker, 5 worker below the standard that you need. So there is no problem if they are below, but it's important, it shouldn't be above 35. That's all. That's how you answer this example. Let me know if you have any question. Any question?
No, doctor.
Okay. Easy or not?
No.
No easy. Wow. Okay. I expected to hear yes, easy. Okay. It will be easy if you read over and over, again and again. Do not, okay, later, after this class, or when you want to prepare for exam, do not put this answer, do do not put this answer front of you and take a look. Don't do that, because I already in many semester have experience. When you can answer this question, when you take a pen and some paper and put the answer away, do not take a look at the answer. Just go to the question here, read the question, and start to answer without looking at the answer. Test your ability. If you do it few times, then it will be very easy for you. I emphasize again, when you want to prepare for exam, not only this question, every single example that we learned in previous weeks, without looking at the answer, take a pen and piece of paper and write the answer. Answer that question. Once you're done, then check. Then check. If it's correct, okay, very good. Means you learn already. If it's not correct or you found even difficulty to answer, go back and check. Let's see where was your weak point, weak spot, why you couldn't answer. That's how you will learn. Why it's easy for me? Because I practice it many times. It will be same easy for you if you do that. Okay, that's for
Doctor.
yes.
Nothing.
Okay, that's all for resource leveling. Let's go to I think the last issue. Oh, no, okay, it's not last issue. It's one of another issue. This one is related to resource management, but not human resource, but materials. It's somehow connected to the procurement. Okay. The quality of the finished product is determined by the quality of raw material. Yes, that's correct. You know better than me. So this actually for a student read, please read it later, because there is nothing hard issue there. It's just definition that you can understand. Example of material management flowchart, which always start from obtain the sample, such as bricks, such as windows. You want to maybe apply single glaze, you want to apply double glazing, triple glazing, anything you have in your mind, you have in your list, you must collect the sample, acquire approval, place the order, supply to the site, and that's you can go until you will complete, which means you provide your information. And when we talk about material, there is one issue that is very important, not only in the Malaysia, around the world, every single country around the world, that is related to the waste of material. Waste normally happen in two situations. First, during the construction, and second, during the, anyone know? During the demolition stage, when the building has not served as a shelter anymore, after maybe 50 years, maybe 60 or 100 years. That these two stages is most relevant to the waste. So let's see. Construction stage have a waste contribution to waste between 3% to 8%. You might think this is not really big deal. Only 3% is nothing. But I'm afraid to tell you this is something or this is everything. Malaysia construction industry is spending more than 20, take a look, not million, but billion. There is a huge difference. in project development every single years. So now let's imagine if only 3%, we just said 3 to up to 8%, but let's choose the minimum. Even if only 3% of this material goes to wastage, over 6 billion ringgit it will be 6 billion, taken average of 5% wastage, it will be 300 million. I think this is not million, billion, right? This should be million. You can check. If not correct, let me know. So if 5% would be around 300 million waste or money goes to dustbin every year from construction sector, only one sector. That's a really huge, very huge amount of money. In future, if you find any method that you can decrease or eliminate this wastage, that would be make you famous, make you rich, and you help the planet, save the planet. So in order to minimize wastage, there are some instruction, as you can see here in this fishbone diagram. In experienced worker, eliminate of using inexperienced, the one who has not proper experience in the field that you ask them to do. Inadequate shelter, when you store the material. For example, the cement is vulnerable to rain, to water. When you keep them in the shelter, you have to do it the way they not be exposed to humidity and water. And there are so many other things you can read later. So since you can read and it's not really confusing, I leave it to you. Study later. And the last one is, first one was human resource, worker, second one material, and the last one for resource management is machinery. Provide adequate equipment to execute the work. Actually, when we talk about the machinery, there's always two options or two choices for you. First, you can purchase that truck, that lorry, or you can rent it. That depends to the situation, the types of the work that you are going to do. The final quality of the product is conditioned by the quality of material and also the quality of equipment that you used. So the last item is communication management. Well, you know that you must know good communication, good coordination is very important, is essential, is vital to better accomplish the overall goal of the project. Because if you imagine you work in the company and there are two people next to you, if you three don't have good communication, you cannot transfer the data, the knowledge, you cannot flood the information among you. That will not help to achieve to the best productivity in the project. Therefore, you need to have a good communication in your project, in your company, in your team. Efficiency in building depends upon the quality of relationship between client, professionals, contractor, subcontractor, and goes on. And this is not something that we learned yesterday, but this definition came almost 60 years ago. Factors to achieve this good communication is quality techniques, tools to solve the problem, effective top-down and bottom-up communication. I think we already discussed about this week 7 or 6. Feedback through listening, appropriate planned meeting, and supportive body language in face-to-face communication. Maybe it's not really possible face-to-face at this COVID situation, but try to have it as much as possible. Operate no blame culture, which is very, very important. One of the really motivate killer in any team is blame culture. When something not right happen, everybody put the fault on 1 or 2%. So what happened? Automatically, next time he or she avoid to express her or his decision, avoid to collaborate in making decision. Maybe next time those people come up with a great idea, but they're afraid to share. So you don't want that happen. That's why do not have this blame culture in your team. Okay, make your attendance, please. Okay, it's finished. That's it. That's all for today and this class. I sincerely hope you learned so many new knowledge during this semester with me in this class, and use those information in the future, not only in the job, but even you can hopefully use it in the your project, your final project, your FIP1, FIP2 in the future. That's make me happy if I see you in the good place, good situation, good job. It's make me proud. If you have any question regarding your test, exam, anything, feel free. Turn on your microphone and let me know. No question. Okay. Okay. Then Have a good day. See you on your final exam.
Thank you, Doctor, for